Okay, we're going to talk about how to draw a picture that will help us find 1/3 of 2/5. So we talked about this in class briefly, but it was right before this whole month-long break thing happened. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure I'm using a pencil. Usually I can't use a pencil because it doesn't show up in the dot cam, but I can use a pencil today, I think. Yep, I think that works. So we're going to draw a rectangle first, and this should ring a bell. The first thing I want to do is represent this first fraction, which is 1/3. So it doesn't matter whether you want to do it vertically, up and down, or horizontally. Either one's fine. I'm going to start with vertical. I'm going to split this into thirds. It does not have to be exact. And we are going to shade one out of these 3/3. So I actually have two colors I'm going to use to try to make this more apparent. I don't know if the colors are going to work out well for us, but I'm going to give it a shot. For 1 out of 3, I'm going to use orange, so just a nice shade here. Doesn't have to be perfect, but that's 1/3. So we are now going to move on to the 2/5. And as a side note, 1/3 of 2/5 is the same as saying 1/3 times 2/5. Okay, so when we say 1/3 of 2/5, we're also saying 1/3 times 2/5. So we've already done the 1/3. Now we need to do the 2 out of 5. So I went vertical to begin. That means for the fifths, I'm going to have to go the other way. This is called horizontal. So I'm going to need to make 5 sections going side to side. So there's 2 sections, 3 sections, 4 sections, and 5 sections. Okay, so now we need to show 2 of these sections shaded to show 2/5. I'm going to use a pink Sharpie. So I'm going to go lightly so it doesn't bleed through too badly. Should look a little something like this. That's going to be 1/5. And here's the second fifth. Okay, so what we're actually going to look at now is where our 2 colors overlap. And if you look closely, we have orange and pink in this rectangle, and orange and pink in this rectangle. This is going to be the numerator to our answer. So we have 1 rectangle and a second, so that's 2 rectangles colored in, and our numerator is 2. And for our denominator, you may remember, it's just counting up all of the rectangles we have in total. So you can either count them individually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Or if you notice, you could just do 1, 2, 3 columns by 5 columns, and 3 times 5 equals 15. Okay, so the whole point here is to show how we can, basically what's actually happening when we take 1/3 of 2/5. We're taking a piece of a smaller piece in this case here. So it's to show that we have 1 chunk of a whole, and we're taking just a piece of that chunk, 2/15. As a side note, to make things a little bit easier moving forward, there's another way to do fraction multiplication without a picture. I'm going to take the same fractions here, 1/3 times 2/5. This is one thing we talked about. The beauty of fraction multiplication is you just have to multiply across. So 1 times 2 equals 2. 3 times 5 equals 15. I know, it's a lot easier than the picture, but there's two things they're going for here. Not just can you multiply fractions, but do you understand what's happening when we multiply fractions, when we find a third of a fifth? Hopefully that helped. Sorry for the shadows or if things don't show up well. This is my first go around. I'll try to fix the lighting if I make any more of these. All right.